This is page 133 in your binder. We're going to review what we talked about yesterday, and then we're going to take that information and put it into practice. So let's start with adjacent angles. So these are relationships for angles. So a relationship, we have different roles with different people. I am a mom, but I'm also a sister to my brothers. I'm also a daughter to my parents. So these angles can be different things when they're with different angles. So first, let's talk about adjacent angles. We know that adjacent means touching. So let's draw some examples. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent because they're sharing this line right here. Let's draw another picture. Angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. They're also like obtuse, but that doesn't matter. They're adjacent because they're sharing that line right there. Could also look like that. Angle 1 and angle 2, because they are sharing that line. Okay, so adjacent just means touching. Now we're going to go, look at vertical angles. Vertical angles are the angles that are across from each other. So 1 and 2, they're across from each other. I like to think this makes a V and this makes a V. So there's two V's that touch each other. And the rule with adjacent angles, those are vertical angles, is that they are congruent. So if angle 1 is 40 degrees, angle 2 is 40 degrees. These angles are also congruent with each other. So if this one is 140, this one would be 140. So vertical angles are across from each other, or you could say they're back-to-back V's. Let's go down to complementary and supplementary. Yesterday I told you to help remember, complementary starts with a C. It's the 90. It's the smaller one. Supplementary starts with an S. It comes later in the alphabet. It's the bigger number, 180. Complementary just means two numbers that add up, or two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So angle 1 plus angle 2 equal 90 degrees, and we know that because I drew that little square right there. They don't have to be touching to be complementary, so I could have a 20 degree angle and I could have a 70 degree angle, and 20 plus 70 equals 90. Either way, they're sum. They add up to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles are like complementary, except they add up to 180. So if they're on a straight line, we know that that's 180. So angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. We also know, like we could have a 70 degree angle, and we could have, they don't have to be touching, and we could have a 110 degree angle, and 70 plus 110 equals 180. Supplementary, they add up to 180. The last one we're going to talk about is a linear pair. So you see the word line, and pair means two. So two angles that are on a line. That is a linear pair because they make a line together. So a linear pair is also supplementary, and it's also adjacent. Now, keep this paper open, and I want you to flip back a page to 132. All right, you have 6 different pictures to look at. I need you to decide if the angles in this picture are adjacent, vertical, complementary, supplementary, or a linear pair. And in the corner of each box, I wrote how many answers you're going to pick. So for this first one, it says pick one. So you're going to pick one of those. I'm going to go down here and help you out, give you an example with number 5. So it says to pick 2. Well, when I look at angle 1 and angle 2, I can see that they are across from each other. So I'm going to pick vertical. And I'm also know that this box tells me that one's 90. So that would mean that this is 90. That would mean that 1 and 2, when added together, make 90. Let me give you a little key on here. Adjacent means touching. Vertical are across from each other. Complementary makes 90 degrees. Supplementary makes 180, a straight line. And linear pair is also a straight line. Sorry, there are a bunch of people walking. It got really loud. So finish this paper and be sure to pick the number of answers it tells you to pick on each one. When you're finished, flip over to 134. This is page 134. We're going to do 1 through 9. So we're going to figure out what the missing part is. So this is what I'm looking for in number 1. It's a vertical angle with 120, 112, and we know that vertical angles are always the same. So this one's easy. X equals 112 degrees. This one, it's a little bit different. That makes a right angle. So I'm going to have to use my part plus my part equals, well, it's terrible equal sign, my whole, which is 90 degrees. So figure out what X is here. This one, I have a supplementary angle. So I got a part plus a part equals, the whole thing is a straight line, which is 180. So figure out what X is. I want you to do this one on your own. Figure out Y. Just look at the picture and you can figure it out. And then when you're figuring out X, just look at this part. You'll know what Y is, and then you can do a part plus a part equals a whole to get X. And then Z is going to be the same as X because they're vertical. Do the same thing for number 5. For number 6, I need you to draw a picture. Angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. Draw the picture and then add, if angle 2 is 105, how much is angle 1? Number 7, draw the picture. Angle A and B are complementary angles. If angle A is 42, how much is B? And remember that complementary angles are 90 degrees, so that's going to be your whole. P and Q are supplementary. We know that's 180. If Q is 64, how much is P? So draw a picture and then figure out the math. 1 and 2 are a linear pair. Draw the picture. Angle 1 is 113. How much is 2? Complete that page. When you are done, one more page, flip over to, we did a lot today, 1.38. This is page 1.38. I want you to do number 1 and number 5. When you are done, turn all this work into me. Thank you.